Hey, what's going on, everyone? This is Scott here with the Entrepreneur. So, now that we've taken some time in the past couple of videos to take a look at what Shopify is, how it works, what the competitive advantages are, what the pricing is, and we feel comfortable with the environment and we feel like that's our choice. Now we've also taken a look at some of the themes and what is potentially possible in Shopify. Now it's really actually time to get down to the nitty-gritty and start opening a store. Now, this may also seem daunting to you because you don't really know what you're doing, but let me really briefly in this video show you how you can get from A to B, and it's really not that hard. So basically what you want to do is you want to come to shopify.com, which is the main page, and then you'll see this little sign up here that says get started. We're going to click on that, and then all you have to do is just type in your email address, a password of your choice, and what you would like to name your store. So anyways, I just created that with my login credentials, and it's going to shoot you over to this page. So it says here, oh, tell us a little bit about yourself. All Shopify wants to know is, what is going on with your store? What are you currently producing? And that just helps them categorize you on their back end. So I'm not selling any products yet. Do you have something to sell? No, I'm brainstorming ideas. Let's put it that way. How much revenue does your store or business currently make in a year? 0, I'm just getting started. And no, we do not need to press this. So, all right, so now we're here at the personal information page, so we can just put something in here, number here. All right, and boom, there we are. We are officially in our store. Welcome to Shopify, Scott. Thank you. Here's what's happening in my store right now. So you are now officially in the home section. This is also called the dashboard, and this is where Shopify will highlight anything that is currently going on with your store. In addition, it will give you different types of promotions or notify you on certain things that are going on. So here you can immediately tell, it says add a product to start selling. It will give you all these different hints, tips, and tricks. Customize your online store. Add your own domain, which again, once you have your own domain, if you already have that, you can add that here. I can also show you if this shouldn't pop up on your end, where you can do that. Find more ways to sell. This is all stuff that you should be worrying about in the future. So most of this stuff really you shouldn't be worried about too much. More importantly is the first thing that I would do is go down here to the settings button. And what you will see here is the general settings, payments, checkout, shipping, taxes, notifications, files, sales channels, and account. This is a very important section, probably the most important section for you to make sure that your store is running the right way, that your customers are seeing the right information, that you're playing within the legal boundaries, yada yada yada. So again, here's your store name that you just picked. You can change everything here. Here are the different emails, and this is really important because you may want to separate your emails, because you may have a personal email that you want to get notified about any activity, but you also want to have an email for your store that your customers get notified to, or if a customer purchases a product, it will say, hey, if any questions, email this email, right? And you would like that to be different than your personal email, because you don't necessarily want people emailing at your personal email. So do make sure you have 2 different types of emails, one for the store, one for yourself. Again, this is all internal. This is what's presented externally, just so that you can keep the 2 separate, and so that you can kind of protect your identity if that is important to you. And then here, store address, this is where you would put in the legal name of your business. If you actually have a retail store, you would put that in here, or depending on where your LLC or your sole proprietorship is registered. Standards and formats, it's pretty simple. Just kind of type in where you are currently, so making sure that everything is set up the right way. And then also your unit system. In this case, we are in the US, so pounds, ounces, makes it a little bit easier. Save the whole thing. And now let's move on to payments real quick. So Shopify by itself has what they call Shopify payments. This is powered by Stripe. And it's important to know that it's powered by Stripe, because what it means is that Shopify actually does not store any of the credit card information of any of your customers, which is very important. It shifts that over to Stripe, which takes care of that in an encrypted fashion, so that alleviates Shopify from any of the legal problems that could potentially come from customer accounts being stolen, and also alleviates you from that because everything is immediately transferred over to Stripe. So if any customer information is stolen, it's on Stripe, it's not on you, and that's important, and that's why they've partnered up. And once you set this up, and this will require you to, if I click on this, to basically put in your employer identification number, what kind of a business type you are you an LLC, are you a partnership, a corporation, and important here is that you do need this EIN, meaning this is your tax number, your employer identification number that will be handed to you by the respective state that you are in. In order to get this number, you would have to either go through an online filing process. I mean, there's different websites where you can do it, LegalZoom, for example, but I would always point you towards a legal professional for any questions regarding this, simply because, it could be that your situation is a little more complex and you want to make sure that you're choosing the right business type that fits you. One of the things that people often do is they will just simply go out and create an LLC online and then realize later on that there were certain contingencies that they didn't realize, and now maybe their ownership share is different from what they thought it was, and they have a partner in the business, and now it gets into disputes between ownership and it gets pretty ugly. And these are all real life examples that I have seen and heard from directly. So definitely, I think, if you are serious about starting a online store and you're expecting that real revenue is going to come from this and you want to grow it, speak to a lawyer and just make sure that you're protected on that end, just so that all your work is protected and it was wasn't for nothing. So personal details, again, you can put everything in here, and most of the stuff is required. And then also one of the things that I always want to point people to is the customer billing statement, in terms of how this is going to show up on your credit card. I hate it when I purchase something from a store and their statement descriptor, that's what this is called, is not set up properly. So then now I'm going through my billing statements and I'm really having trouble trying to figure out, what did I purchase here 2 months ago, yada, yada, yada. So again, you might want to switch this phone number to your store phone number. I would recommend, if you don't have a office or anything yet, go to Google Voice, set up a transitional number, or a store number, so that you can separate your personal phone number from that. Again, it's always just going back to protecting your identity and making sure that you can separate your business and your personal life. So let's go back over here to checkout. Keep moving through, and this is for the checkout process. So in this case, it says choose if you want to prompt your customer to create an account when they check out. So in this case, accounts are disabled, and that means that when a customer goes on your webpage, they can't actually log in. And that is fine in the beginning, but overall, you probably want to switch it to accounts are optional. That's how I usually do it, and that will allow customers to actually create accounts. Meaning, the next time they come in, all they have to do is put in their email at checkout, and all the other information populates. So I'm just going to save this. It's going to save customers a lot of time, plus it's going to make my site look more legitimate if I actually have a sign up button there and people can create accounts. Now they can also see their orders and manage their orders and everything. So there's really a lot of benefits to having this clicked, and Shopify does it all for you. So it's pretty simple. There are not a lot of headaches associated with this. Overall, I think it's a really good thing. And these are just the form options. Again, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, simply because you can kind of go through, what do you want them to show on their checkout process, if you're going through a product, what kind of information that they give you. And this is really, you obviously want to have, the regular address and stuff like that, but most of this is, really just the optional stuff in terms of how nitty gritty you want to get. And I usually say the less is more. If you don't need a company name of that customer, because honestly, you probably don't really care what company they work for, as long as, they are a purchasing customer and you have their email so you can contact them again. Just put it on hidden, because the more fields a customer has to fill out, the less likely is that they're actually going to make it through checkout. So you want to make that process very smooth and as easy as possible. Really reduce those barriers. And then, here are general other checkout items that you should kind of look through. While the customer is checking out, use the shipping address as the billing address by default. This makes total sense. For most people, it is the same. And yeah, some of these other things. But again, not going to spend too much time on most of the stuff except for the refund, privacy, and TOS statements. So in terms of service, that's what this stands for. The great thing about Shopify is that it will just generate these for you automatically. So all you got to do is click these buttons and you will get a general template. Now, you should still spend time reading through it, making sure that everything seems right, because there are parts, in this case, see here, where my fake address is being used, so as well as this email. You want to make sure that the right address is being displayed, that the right email is being displayed, and that overall everything seems to be okay. See how the store is talking, or how this policy talks about your shipping policies or any type of limited liability. And again, limited liability is very important. You want to make sure you're protected. So just kind of take a minute and get familiar with the language in here so that you have a complete understanding of what you're actually, telling your customers. And so these are, again, important for legal issues. If you don't have any, then a customer can always come back and say, hey, there was no, I didn't see a refund policy, there was no privacy policy, and you're doing stuff with my information that I didn't agree to, and you might run into some legal issues there. So we want to save those. And again, if you have more questions on this, and you really want to make sure that you're on the safe side, go and speak to your lawyer about this. Send them the generic version here and see what they think. They will have some thoughts on this and will probably give you some edits to think about. Next up is the shipping. Again, it pulls up the shipping information. This is used to calculate your shipping rates. Make sure that this is based on your store and that there's nothing personal in here, because this will also appear on the return label for any of your shipping. So you don't want to print out shipping labels, send it to your customer, and there's your personal information on there, and now you have a ton of packages that are coming to your house, or even worse, people are showing up to your house if you're operating from your home. So make sure that you can separate those two. That brings me to a good point. Let's say you are operating a store from home. What I would do is I would go online to USPS or FedEx or wherever and set up a PO box. Now, by setting up a PO box, you can have your company address associated with that, so you could basically have all your packages and return labels and all the shipping labels pointing towards a PO box in your region that you can just basically drive to once a week and just to see whether any packages have arrived or if there's any mail for you. But that allows you to, again, separate your personal address from your business address. And then we get into zones and rates and shipping zones and all these different things, and this is really a topic for another video. I will make another video on shipping, and if you have any specific questions, just let me know. Shipping labels, again, Shopify makes all this process really, really easy. Basically, when an order comes through the system, you will see all the details, and then it will basically, by a click of a button, will allow you to print a shipping label for that specific customer, and that charge goes onto your Shopify account and basically gets deducted from whatever is being paid out later. So, when you pass the shipping cost onto a customer, so a customer goes through and says the item is $19.99, and now you slap on $4 in shipping, so the total comes out to $23.99. Now those $4 are also being put in your pocket, but you also have to pay for the actual label. So net, it's a zero sum on your part, but the important part is that it is really, really easy, as you'll see as you kind of get more experience with Shopify. And here it talks about the different types of label printers that you have. 4 by 6 inches is pretty standard for most USPS labels, and it also points you towards a Dymo printer. Dymo is a brand of label printers. You can find those. They're being sold all over the place. Pretty simple to use. So not going to go into much detail there here either. So don't want to spend too much time here. There's nothing that I think you should know right off the bat. I can speak to any of this in future videos. Just ask any questions in the comment section, and I'll be more than happy to help you out there. So taxes. You need to worry about taxes, because if you are selling a product as a retailer, you will be charging sales tax, especially if you're shipping stuff, across state lines. You will have to make sure that you are adhering to all this and making sure that you're capturing these. So when you file your monthly or quarterly sales tax returns, that you have all the accurate information and you don't end up starting to owe money to your state or other entities. So in this case, what you would want to do is that with taxes is that if you have a business, let's assume you're running your business out of your home, then your location, let's say you live in California, is going to be the determinant of where you're going to charge sales taxes. And basically, the way the law works is that your home base is considered, or what they call nexus, meaning that that is where your main setting of your business is. Now, you would set your sales tax process up that way, that you'd say, okay, I have nexus in California. Now, every time another customer from California buys a product from you, you now have to collect sales tax from that person, or pay sales tax essentially, which is why you want to charge the customer for it, because you don't want to just pay that and lose out on that margin on your product. So essentially, what you would want to do is you go through here, and basically what you want to do here is, well, nothing. So because if you don't want to include the taxes in your prices, that would mean if you're selling for something for $19.99, by clicking this button, it would indicate that taxes are already included, which you don't want to do. You want to pass the taxes on to the customer in most cases, so that when a customer checks out, it says $19.99, and then it will add an additional amount to that. And again, here is where you can set up the tax rates, and what you will do is you'll basically click on the United States here, and you would add your physical address, which in this case I've already set it up for California, and now it will automatically at checkout look at, okay, where am I shipping this product to? Is it a customer in state or out of state? And based on that, it will adjust the taxes. So notifications, here's where you'll be able to look at all the different email templates, anything that want to be shipped or sent out to a customer at different trigger points. Take a look through that. It's too much to spend much time on this in this video. Files, this is where you will basically see all the different imagery and products and anything that you've uploaded at any point, whether it's in products or reports or whatever it may be, will be sitting here. And sales channels is, let's say if you have a retail POS system running through one of your devices, it will show up here, or if you're selling on Facebook or on Amazon, these things will pop up here. Lastly, here's your account overview, which is where you can basically see, okay, I'm on the trial account, and once you're not on trial account anymore, you'll see, basically the other information there. What is my charge rate? This is very important, like I explained in my previous video, that Shopify charges you 2.9% on the value of your transaction, and an additional 30 cents for transaction processing. Now, like I said in my previous video, this may not seem very big, but it is not a small amount, especially if you're selling items that are priced pretty cheaply. So if you're selling something for $10, not only are you paying 2.9% here, but you're also paying an additional 3% for with this 30-cent charge. Now, again, here is where you can add your business credit card and any other billing information, accounts and permissions. This is where you can add your staff accounts. And by staff accounts, Shopify means that if you have other people who work on a plan with you. And what you would want to do here is, if you added someone, you could type in their name, Sarah Test at gmail.com. And now you want to make sure that, unless this person is someone that you really, really trust, you want to make sure that you go through here and unclick this, because by having this clicked, the staff account will have full permission. By that, it means it can make all the same changes that you can, and that generally is not the case. If you're opening a store, most likely you're the store manager, and you want to make sure that whoever else has access to it has limited access. So if I only want her to basically fulfill orders, I'm going to have her only have access to orders and maybe discounts. So boom, I would click send invite, and she would get the invitation via email, can create a password for herself, and then she can log on. However, you as the administrator can delete that, or disactivate or deactivate, not disactivate, her account at any point in time. So you have full control. Just make sure that you unclick this and then start allocating her permissions down here.